Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to our Soccer's Overtime Summer Zoom Conversation Series. Each week for the last 2+ months, we've been highlighting one player after another or coach or member of our club. And this week, the last week of July, it is Pino Week. And we are so excited to welcome via Zoom our dear friend, defender Guerrero Pino, out here onto our conversation, both on podcast and on video. Guerrero, it is great to see your face, my friend. How have you been?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, Craig. Great to see you again.
For sure. Tell me a little bit about the summer. I know we were just chatting before we hit record in terms of course, all the restrictions, how COVID's changed all of our lives. But overall, for yourself, for your family, how's your summer been?
Well, the most important thing, family is good. Family is okay. I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters, being healthy and staying well. But yeah, just getting used to the new normal. Here in Kansas City, we're trying to get back to everything, with all the guidelines and restrictions still. But I mean, it doesn't feel the same. But I mean, we don't have anything else to do, so we gotta get used to it.
For sure. So while we've all been sitting in place, while we've been waiting, first we were hoping maybe there'd be a summer tournament, and now we're just really hoping for a new season. But the league officially closed down 2019-2020 at the start of this month, opened up free agency, and now we're starting to see some player movement. So I thought the first thing we could do is just talk a little current events, especially for all the MASL fans who might be tuning in even from other markets, and talk about what's been happening. Let's start with our move, Guerrero, with the Sockers bringing in Gordy Gerson, a three-time U.S. national team player, of course, a star scorer, whether it be St. Louis, whether it be Orlando or Florida last year. What are your thoughts on having Kid Dynamite in the midfield for the Sockers?
It's good. It's good. I know Gary since I played with Kansas City. Is a great guy. I had the opportunity to play with him in a futsal showcase in San Luis for some benefits for kids with cancer and stuff like that. It's a great guy, great soccer player, and obviously, I mean, it is good for the team. It's good for the club, and bringing a player like him that's going to be always working and bringing positive feedbacks to the guys and everything, and with all the experience that he has is great. I'm happy with it, and I'm happy that he's with the team now.
The Sockers have such a loaded team. You would figure that they're going to make one move, a couple moves, but not make a lot of huge moves, because obviously the team is already in place. It's a terrific team that we have in San Diego. It's no surprise to see that the rivals of the Sockers are continuing to wheel and deal. And of course, last year it was Ontario that was the team that was extremely active and bringing in Frank Tayu and Uzi, and Chris Toth was there, bringing in Stinson from St. Louis, really adding a lot to their club. This year, Gary, it appears that Tacoma is the team that's on the chase, as Nick Pereira has lured his best friend, Chris Toth, up north on a deal to split the net with Danny Waltman. And I think of equal importance, Vinny Dantas, one of the great players in this league, has switched coasts and moved from Baltimore to Tacoma. What are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, I was really surprised that they signed Vinny Dantas. I wasn't expecting that. I'll start with that. He's a phenomenal player. I got the opportunity to play against him a couple of times as a soccer player and also as a Kansas City. But I mean, the guy, in my opinion, is one of the best forwards in the league. He's a threat for every team. It's a guy that you can rely on. He's gonna score a lot of goals, but he also make the other players play, and that's great. I think Nick is doing a great job in terms of bringing experience and great level players to his team, and Vinny will be a phenomenal asset to Tacoma. And as you know, I mean, it is a rival for us, and I think we're gonna be seeing him every single time, and he's gonna be using in our head every single game. And with Chris, I mean, we know Chris, goalkeeper of the year. He's been doing great in the last 4 or 5 years, and I mean, I was kind of like surprised because you have Danny, which is a great goalkeeper. a nightmare for every team. And now you adding Chris, so it's kind of like it doesn't matter who you get, they still gonna have a great goalkeeper on goal. The interesting part will be how is that gonna work? How is that gonna work in terms? Are they gonna split time? Are they gonna play one game in one game? Are they gonna do like one weekend and one weekend? So that's gonna be interesting to see. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's in the net. You're expecting a great goalkeeper. So
It's really funny, Pino, as you bring that up, a memory welled up in my head because in 2015, Chris Toth and Danny Waltman split the net for the U.S. team in the WMF World Cup, which was in the United States. And Danny started the championship, and they won, defeated Mexico by a goal. In Chicago, won the title. I remember that night being out with the celebration with the boys, and Danny putting his arm around Chris, who was then the Sockers keeper, of course, and saying, "Bring me down to San Diego. We'll split the net. I'll be your backup. I'll love it." And that was, of course, a fun night of celebration in 2015. But kind of interesting 5 years later to see it come true. And now Danny kind of at that stage in his career where if he wants to say, "Chris, you're number one, I'm the backup. You'll get 14 games, I'll get 10 games, whatever it is. But I can be your mentor." I kind of feel like Danny's had that seed in his head for a long time.
he probably has it. I think Danny is a great goalkeeper. He has a lot of experience, and he's like that. He's laid back. He's not gonna be the one that is, "Oh, why is he playing more than I am?" and stuff like that. I don't think Danny has that personality. I will say he's the one that will try to help him and mentor and kind of like improve him a little bit. Kind of the same thing he did with Boris when Boris was in KC. I think they were at the same team, and I remember because I had a lot of friends in that team back in the day. And Boris, if you ask him, he learned a lot from Danny. Danny was always trying to help him and use his experience and kind of like translate that to Boris, which was great. I'm assuming it will be the same thing with Chris. And Chris has been doing great for so many years now that he learned a lot. He has a lot of experience, but having I will say a coach and mentor like Danny is great. It's great for him.
Well, good for the Tacoma Stars. We're all hopeful for a full season coming up in which we'll see many battles between our two sides. Now, in the Midwest, I don't know about you, Gary, but for me, the top move of the entire season so far, and the one that just stunned me when it came across the Twitter wire, was Max Ferdinand making the move from Milwaukee to St. Louis, the team that traditionally has been the under to Milwaukee. In other words, Milwaukee beat St. Louis something like 12, 13, 14 times in a row. Really had their goat. Somewhat similar to what San Diego and Ontario used to be, where the Sockers would always beat the Fury, but they were rivals. What were your thoughts on seeing Max make the big move to now be in Milwaukee's rival?
To be honest, when I saw Max as a free agent, I kind of like sense that move because I know Max and Everton are good friends and they have played before together and stuff like that. And since Everton arrived to St. Louis, the St. Louis organization has been different. I think the ownership is doing a great job. When Everton came, it was a lot of movements and stuff like that. And St. Louis have got better a lot and they're competing more and stuff like that. And I think bringing Max was just another incredible move for Everton. You know what I'm saying? Everton is a great coach with a lot of experience, and bringing a guy like Max will just make them better. I think if you put the right players around him, it'll be great. St. Louis is gonna compete for playoffs and stuff like that. But bringing Max with all the experience that he has, and then he was the champion with Milwaukee last year and stuff like that. So it is just going to be great for St. Louis. And to be honest, I think it was kind of like surprise for most people. But if you knew that Everton and Max were kind of like really close, you would expect it. You would expect it because of that friendship.
Yeah, a similar, not similar in terms of quality, but Chad Vandergrift, very important part of Milwaukee Wave. He signed with the Florida Tropics. And as such, we're starting to see the Wave lose a couple of players here from maybe that elite top. They did re-sign Huff the Stuff, but overall, are you surprised to see maybe the Wave losing a little bit on the edge? I mean, Max isn't on the edge. He's right in the core.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Milwaukee has a system. It's just the same as Baltimore, you know? When you have a system, yes, you get hurt by losing players like Max, but at the end of the day, you'll find the players to do their role on the team and do their job at the game, and you just get into the system. And when you have a system and when you play that well, the system, and you have that experience and you understand how your team is gonna play and what are they expecting from you, I don't think we'll see a lot of difference in terms of the playing wise. But yes, they will miss Max, and of course, Ian will miss them the most.
Yes, indeed. The IMAX theater has been shut down, like all the rest of the theaters in our country. All right, Gary, let's shift focus now. We've kind of gone through some of the big moves in the league. Of course, we're excited and hopeful for what the future might bring for our league. Let's talk about us now for a minute, not you and I, the Sockers. As San Diego was really left, I felt, in this season, Guerrero, with such an unfortunate lack of conclusion, because here was a team that went on a real journey this year, a team that started well, had their struggles, had some conflict, seemed like they had come out the other side of it, but there was a very interesting, let's say, playoff still to come. My question to you with all that preamble is, what lessons do you feel the Sockers can take from last year's incomplete season and bring to another season?
Well, I would say that the up and downs help us a lot. We started well. We lost with Turlock, and that was kind of shocking. And then we came back and we started winning games and stuff like that. But we weren't playing good as we were last year. And then we got a good winning streak, and then we were losing games and stuff like that. So that kind of like up and downs helped the team to bound a little bit more, to get together, to understand that yes, this is gonna happen. Yes, the other teams are trying to beat us every single time, and if we fall asleep for 1 minute, they're gonna take advantage of that. And I think that's the most part that we learned from the season, that having up and downs and help to get together as a team, to understand that regardless of the situation, and without getting involved in all the drama or stuff that happens, we still have to play and we still have to win games, because I mean, this is a soccer's organization, and a lot of teams want to beat it, and a lot of teams a lot of teams respect that, but they're always going to come out trying to beat us. So it was part of the learning experience that I got personally. The It doesn't matter what happened on the outside. It doesn't matter what happened during the week. It doesn't matter what happened at training. We still have to win, and we still have to play. And yes, we couldn't conclude the playoffs. And in my opinion, I was really ready for that, because I talked to you in Dallas. I told you we're gonna come to playoff and we're gonna see the best soccer game from our team the whole season. You know, I was expecting the playoffs to be our peak, and I was really confident that it was gonna be a great playoffs for us, and just it didn't happen. You know.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen for anyone. That's the part that, normally we'll either be saying in this conversation, well, we tried and we didn't do it, or
Yes.
we tried and we made it, and we but instead everyone is left just going, what if? I mean, at this point, I mean, it happens on Twitter all the time. We could talk and be excited, and then Uzi will jump in with a tweet like, well, we were going to beat you, and it's like, I can't say you're wrong, Uzi, because the game wasn't played. So nobody will ever know, and as such, it all becomes what? A bunch of hot air and a bunch of tweets.
Yes. That's always gonna be there. So
For sure. I think I'm with you. I think the path that the Sockers were on was one that was hoping to lead to great dividends. For yourself now, 4 years in the MASL, 2 with Kansas City, 2 with San Diego, second year with the organization, coming off an amazing off season in between that we'll talk about in a minute, in terms of Australia and the trip. How do you personally assess last season?
Well, for me, it was the same way. It was an up and down, in terms of obviously losing games. I don't like to lose. And then I had a couple games where I felt I wasn't performing the right way, and then I have other games where I was like, okay, this is how am I supposed to perform on every game. But I mean, I can say it was good for me because it was just, I mean, it was not concluded, so we couldn't see ourselves in a championship game, or I mean lifting the trophy and everything like that. I was happy with how the game was played in terms of a team, and I'm more that kind of player. I'm more about the team winning and doing my job. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I score, if I assist, it will be the W for the team. If we don't get a W, it doesn't matter if I score 5 goals. I don't care about that. I care more about getting the win for the team, you know. And last season was good. It was kind of tough for me in terms of all my personal situation and how everything was handled and stuff like that. But overall was good. You know, overall was I'll finish the season, but
Yeah, it's we're all going to be left with that taste in our mouth at the end of the year, just saying, always just kind of having that what if that's going to come up. Nonetheless, I thought it was a big year of growth for you as a leader. And that starts with being given a big responsibility when Team Mexico went to Perth, Australia to battle in the WMF World Cup. Our previous interview, by the way, Gary, if you didn't see it prior to this, to you and I, was with your head coach there, and of course our assistant coach, Rene Ortiz. And he talked a lot about the lessons he's learned from previous great coaches and what he was trying to do to create chemistry within that group that went to Australia. Obviously, it worked out. Team Mexico went undefeated, went 7-0, won the championship. You lifted that trophy, and were the first to get the opportunity to do so wearing the captain's armband. How do you think, in retrospect now, how impressed were you with the job that Rene did in putting together the roster the way he did so that you had a group that could work together?
to be honest, when I saw the roster, I had no doubt that we were gonna win it. I was like, there's no one that could do better than any of the ones that are going to this. You know, it was just a great roster. I think the coaches Rene, Borrego, and Profe Victor, and all the coaching staff, they did a great job by selecting the players on every position, and it was just amazing. It was a great roster. I was lucky to play with most of them in San Diego, and then I knew the other ones from other teams. So it wasn't hard, that transition to start training, and then the team chemistry and all of that wasn't that hard. And then on top of that, you understand that a lot of players were on the previous World Cup as well, so they already had an experience. They already know what to expect, and it was a great help for the new ones, because I was a new member on the national team. It was my first experience playing a World Cup on mini football, and that helped us a lot. You know, I knew what to expect because the other guys were helping us out with that, and the roster was just phenomenal. I think player by player, we were a great team.
It's kind of funny as I think back through Team Mexico's path, because you had some easy wins, you had some very, tough competition. You guys also dealt with some crazy rain. I think you played at least 2 games, including the final, in some wild weather conditions where almost every other day of the tournament was perfect blue sky, perfect weather, like San Diego weather. And then there were 2 games, one in the group stage and the final, where you're just playing in a downpour.
Yes, I remember the game against Somalia. I think that was when it was just storming. You know, the rain was crazy. we love to play in the rain. I think every soccer player loves to play in the rain. And then it was great. I think it was an easy game for us, with all the respect. But we had fun. We enjoyed it. We got together. We started working on some stuff that we didn't do the first game. That was our second game, if I'm not mistaken. And it helped us. It helped us to. We had an easy game, but we understood that okay, we're still working. We're still doing our job, and we got to work on the stuff that we're lacking on, And the final, yes, it was another game like that. The rain wasn't as bad as the first one, but he played a little bit of role in the game. I think having Brazil in front of us, and then the rain and stuff like that, and it was cold,
Yeah.
so it kind of like make it a little bit harder. But at the end of the day, we got the result.
Of course, also part of that final was you had to look across the field and see Leo, and know that, for yourself, for the key defenders, for Sarah, it's going to be stopping your teammate that's going to probably be the difference between winning or losing the World Cup.
Yes, I would say that Leo was playing a little bit more behind. He was in the target at that tournament, and that kind of like relieved a little bit of pressure of us. But yes, he was a threat. We know him. He's a great player. I will say, even in practices, when I'm practicing with the soccer, I don't like to mark him.
Yeah.
I really don't like to mark him. I think it's a great test for me and stuff like that, but I prefer not to,
Yeah.
Just keep it on the safe. Just keep it on with Leo. And not only him. Brazil had a great team, and we found our way. It was 1-0 until the last 4 minutes when everything turned around, So it was just like that.
That's funny how you say that too. I'd rather not mark Leo in practice, because that's one that I had in the back of my head, was we're now talking about a world where in your division, Gerde, or in our conference, but the closest teams, you have to deal with Tayo and Stinson, one after the other, right? Just not a minute where one of those cats ain't on the floor. And now it's going to be Pereira and Dantas, one after another. And you're going to always have, one of the best forwards in the league on the floor. So the great news for you is that you've got Childs and Leo that you have to deal with on a day in, day out, practice in, practice out basis. So if you can mark those cats, maybe you can mark these other big fellas.
Yes. I will say Craig and Leo, they're always good. They're always great players, and at practices, it helps. It actually helps to be prepared for Frank, Nick, Gonzalez from Monterrey, and now Vinny Dantas. It's fun for me. It's fun to mark those guys. I always have fun playing against Frank, playing against Nick, and players like that. I like to get challenged, and those players are great. They're the best in the league for a reason, and playing against them, you just make it more fun.
It's so awesome. Well, Gary, I have really enjoyed this conversation. It's my personal pleasure that I get to do all these Zoom chats and at least kind of see your guys' faces and catch up with you, and allow our fans to also get the opportunity to enjoy a chance to talk with you. So thank you so much. Stay healthy. Keep your family healthy. And knock wood, we'll all be seeing one another in the winter once again to try to renew the battle for the Ron Newman Cup.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the funds and all the support that they give to the soccer organization. And yes, most important, stay healthy. You too, stay healthy. Keep the family healthy, and hopefully, we don't know. Everything is unsure at this point. We don't know what's going to happen on the season, but at the end of the day, it has to be for the best of our health. So whatever happens, if it's the best for us, that's great.